How's it going, guys? And welcome to my review of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, a very rare Dragon Ball Z RPG, one that we have not seen since the Xenoverse series, and not quite like this. This has been the first time, really, where we've gotten a open world RPG. You know, in the Xenoverse games, you had hubs that you could run around in especially in Xenoverse 2. But this was the first time we actually got fleshed out huge worlds this time around. And this game passed me up for most of 2020, but I picked it up extremely cheaply at $14 at Best Buy during Black Friday. And I waited about a month to play it. And when I finally got around to starting this game a few months ago, I could not believe what I was missing out on. This was a dream come true. This was Dragon Ball Z built from the ground up in video game form, and it is done to pure perfection. This is a beautiful looking game. You've got almost the entire universe here. You've got not only Planet Namek, you've got everything on Earth. You've got the desert area. You've got the mountains. You've got even the snowy mountains where Dr. Gero had his lab where he built the androids. You've got Kame House. You've got King Kai's planet even. You can even visit the mystical land of the Kais and roam around in the fields. You could run around. You could fly around. You could take in the breathtaking scenery. The graphics are just gorgeous. I played this on the Xbox One. That's what you're looking at, the footage right here. The character models are spot on. You're not going to believe it. It is like watching an episode of the show. It is such a good looking game. It's really going to wow you, as I'm sure if you've never seen this game in action before, it's probably wowing you right now. You've got all the main characters here because you know what Kakarot does? It actually tells you the entire story from start to finish. From the moment that Raditz visits the planet to the moment Goku blows Kid Buu sky high. It's all here. Every single thing from Z is here, plus more. We've got side missions. We've got content that wasn't even in the show. Just like the anime made up its own content that wasn't in the manga, you better believe that the game makes up its own content. And I absolutely love it. And you'll see most of this in the side missions. And you'll see Dragon Ball characters. Characters that you didn't even see in Z. You'll even see Nam again. You'll see the Crane Hermit. You'll see Mercenary Tao, who only showed up for an episode of Dragon Ball Z. A big main character, a main villain in Dragon Ball, even shows up for a few side missions alongside the Crane Hermit. You've got Launch coming back. You know, she was in Z technically. You know, she was there in the first season. You know, you even seen her in the last season during the Buu Saga, giving her energy to Goku during the Spirit Bomb. And Launch is actually in the main missions of this game. They expand on her relationship with Tien. She meets up with Gohan, which she never even met Gohan in Dragon Ball Z. You know, the thing is, Akira Toriyama actually forgot about Launch in DBZ, and he's even admitted to that. He completely forgot about her. So it's nice to see that she gets her reclaimed to prominence once again in this game. This really seems like it encompasses everything in the Dragon Ball universe. It didn't forget a lot of the characters, kind of like Z did. And I'm not really knocking Z, but there was some characters that it would have been nice if we went back to see them a little bit. But, you know, in retrospect, we can't really knock it too bad. But, you know, Kakarot makes up for it. We get to finally see these beloved characters again, and it's really refreshing to see. This is a game that really has a love for Dragon Ball lore and for the universe. So what exactly do you do in this game, and how do you go about it? Well, there is plenty of fights, as you would imagine. I mean, this is a Dragon Ball Z game after all, so you could expect to have all the major battles. You'll be throwing down with Raditz, you'll be throwing down with Nappa, the Ginyu Force, Frieza himself, Cell. You'll be throwing down with Buu in the grand finale of the game, as well as others. And of course, you gotta have minions. So as you're roaming around these massive, beautiful landscapes, going from mission to mission, and side missions, of course, I don't know about you guys, but this was a game where I really wanted to complete the side missions, especially because a lot of the time you're running into side characters from the past. And you'll meet up with characters, as I mentioned before, and also ones that I haven't, such as Sano and Ader. They even show up here as well. So this is just so fun. And, even though a lot of these missions are side quests, and some people are sure to probably think that they're, a little bit on the thin side of things, a lot of times you're also told to go help out and destroy a monster, and a lot of times you're going to be fighting a lot of the same enemies. In the beginning, you're going to meet up with Skull Robos, and you're probably saying to yourself, well, these things look familiar. They don't really quite look like anything I've seen before, but you know what they're actually based off of? The Dragon Ball pirate robot. In the original Dragon Ball anime, when Goku, Krillin, and Bulma go into the Pirate Cove and they run into a robot guardian that's like a pirate, well, all of these robots are based off of that. And I found that to be a really unusual choice, but I understand a lot of the other choices, such as leftover Red Ribbon robots. It'll take a while before you run into them. You'll find Frieza Force leftovers after you finish the Namek Saga. You'll find them on Earth. You'll even start running into Cybermen after defeating Nappa and Vegeta. And there's even this really funny running gag that they have in the game when you're playing as Gohan. You'll keep running into this crazy cook that keeps getting attacked by Cybermen, and they kind of make a joke out of it, and it has that classic Dragon Ball charm, so I really like that. And you ran into a lot of these in Xenoverse 2, so that's no surprise. But after a while, you kind of wish some of these other enemies might have popped up. I can't really think of what other kind of enemies that they could have added into here, so I guess I can't really fault them too bad. They still want to keep a lot of the characters that are already in the universe present. They don't want to come up with a lot of new characters that are just going to kind of confuse and be like, where the hell did these characters come from? But you'll fight these enemies, and you'll complete the side missions, and you'll gain experience, and you'll power up, and your stats will grow. And this is where you get into something where I spent quite a bit of time. You will acquire new skills through the skill tree. And this is a classic RPG skill tree. You've seen these things tons of times before in other games. You can select what you want to do first. You'll build your way down, and you'll have to collect Z-Orbs. See, this is the other thing. Not only do you need to level up, but you also need to collect Z-Orbs, which are all over the place, and you require certain Z-Orbs. I didn't have too much of a problem early on with this because I always made sure that I collected enough Z-Orbs along the way, and trust me, this game is like a garbage dump of Z-Orbs. But as King Kai will explain to you in the game when he pops up randomly, he'll tell you a lot of these Z-Orbs are more valuable than others. Some are very abundant, others are quite rare. And you're going to want to grab as many as possible. Don't be stingy. When you see them, don't be lazy either, is what I mean to say. Go and grab them. A lot of people don't want to move a few extra inches, and I'll get them later. Trust me, get them now. You're going to want them. And then you will really power up your characters, and it is really fun to be extremely strong in this game. And you never really feel you have to grind that much. If you're having trouble, you can grind, but it's really not that necessary. If you do a lot of side missions and you basically have fun in this game and play it as it was designed and do everything that's at your disposal, you won't really struggle that much. The other thing that's really cool is you get to choose your moves, and all the moves are here. And not only do you get to control Goku and Gohan and Vegeta, and later on even Trunks, also Piccolo, You also get support characters. Now, sadly, you can't play as them, but you can have Tien, Yamcha, Chaozu, and Krillin be support characters among others, and it's really fun to mix and match these teams. Now, sometimes you don't get to choose who can be in your team, and sometimes the story calls for you being by yourself, so you can't really swap them out, but you get enough opportunities to do so, and it's really fun to mix and match these guys. For me, towards the end of the game, I really just love doing Goku, Gohan, and Vegeta. You know, just get all the Saiyans together and just rip everybody apart, which is just so awesome. And you get to choose the moves that you want. You know, you've got Gohan's Masenko. Of course, you've got the Kamehameha in there. You've got the crazy moves like throwing 1,000 energy blasts at an opponent. You've even got Goku's classic Dragon Fist from the movies. You've got the Spirit Bomb, and you've got different levels, and you could level up your Spirit Bomb, level up your Kamehameha, and you could switch these moves out. Goku's got his rock, paper, scissor move from Dragon Ball. You could swap that out for a stronger move. So there's all these different possibilities, and in fights you could string these moves together. And the fighting, it's really easy to pick up and play, but hard to master. And it's really awesome to try to just, you know, get into these fights, and anyone can pick it up. And it's a lot easier to get into than Xenoverse. The controls are just a lot simpler, and that's not a bad thing. You know, I don't know why so many people are hung up on if a game that involves fighting doesn't have super complicated controls and require you to memorize a bunch of different button inputs, then the game is automatically not a good game for fighting, which doesn't make any sense to me. I prefer fighting games that are a little bit more pick up and play. You know, I do enjoy some other fighters, but I'm not a big, huge, massive fighting game fan. So that's why this game speaks to me more than the past Dragon Ball Z games, because this is my kind of game. We're an RPG, adventure, action game territory, and it is a fighting game, really sort of at its core. It's an RPG fighter, but it really seems to ease up on the really difficult parts of fighting games, and it seems to really understand that, and understands that there's Dragon Ball Z fans, but not all of us are like hardcore fighting game fans that just know how to play fighting games without getting our ass kicked. So yeah, that's pretty much me. So that's the thing why I always get my ass kicked in fighters, and it was really pleasant to just be able to kind of play this one. Not to say that it's too easy, but I was able to have fun without pulling my fucking hair out, and that was really a joy, as you could imagine. And the AI is quite smart. I mean, I have to say, you know, I played this game on normal difficulty, and the computer does give a pretty fair challenge. Now, you really don't have that much of an opportunity to cheese. Also, your special moves are not that overpowered. You can really get your ass kicked if you're not that careful. So that's why I actually really like this game. It really seemed to understand that we can have fighting game mechanics, but we don't need to pressure the player all too much with all the minutia of what fighting games usually entail, a steep learning curve. So you throw that out the window and you get some pretty fun fights. Now, when it comes to Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, I have talked numerous times on this channel about the charm that is involved in it. So, as you can see, as I was mentioning before, I really like just being in this world. I like being a part of the Dragon Ball Z and just Dragon Ball universe in general. And this game delivers on that tenfold. Just being in West City, flying over these massive environments such as the desert and the valleys and the fields near Goku's house. It is just so awesome to take everything in. And the environments are destructible. They're not permanently destructible, but if you fly into a cliff or if you fly too close to the ground, you will see the effect of what you're doing on the environment. And I really liked seeing that. And also, would you believe it, you could actually collect the Dragon Balls. They're actually laying around in this game, and if you collect all 7, guess what? You can summon the dragon. And you could use these Dragon Balls. You could wish back a lot of the fallen enemies. You could wish back Raditz. You could wish back Nappa, and you could fight him again. You could have Nappa as your training partner, which was really awesome to see. It's great to see, and I like a lot of the dialogue that they added in for these scenes, you know. But the thing is, what I got to talk about here is not it's so much in the main story, but when it comes to these side missions, and I love the side missions. I'm going to talk about a few of my favorites in just a moment, but it kind of reminded me of the Shantae games, where some of it is voiced and some of it is not. Oh, that just really pissed me off. And sometimes you'll have a character like blurt out a phrase that kind of has something to do with what's going on, but not quite. I don't understand. We have all the voice actors. They're all here. Why can't we just have them read all the lines instead of just most of them, and some of them they're just going to stay silent for? I don't really understand that. Now, they got really creative with some of these side missions, and I was really eating this part of the game up. I did all the side missions that were available to me. We've got a really creative bunch of guys working on this game. We had Gohan helping out Yamcha when these girls that he's dating realize that he's been cheating on them. They actually send out some of these Skull Robos to attack him. You know, Gohan has to help him out. There's also another funny side mission where Goku agrees to help Krillin after Marin rips her stuffed kitty cat plushie. Goku somehow convinces Korin to come along and actually play along as the plushie. And I thought that was a really hilarious scene. I also especially liked seeing Arali again show up for one of the side missions. That was a pretty cool little nod to Dr. Slump, one of Akira Toriyama's other animes, and she did appear in Dragon Ball, and also she did again in Dragon Ball Super more recently. I'm really impressed at how many characters and side characters they threw in here. A really impressive job, and such a respect for the source material. But you're going to get a real kick out of these side missions. I mean, they really send you on some weird and wacky missions. Yeah, they're fetch quests, and I know a lot of people across the internet have pointed that out. Yeah, they're fetch quests, but really, kind of think about it, in RPGs, what sort of side missions do you really get besides fetch quests? I mean, they're basically the main ingredient of a side quest in an RPG. Kind of hard to get around that one. But they're really fun. I didn't really mind that. And the fact that you get story and dialogue to go along with it, they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew that they could get you to play these side missions and, you know, just go fetch items for these characters just because, you know, you want to get a little bit of lore, you want to get a little bit of extra story, you want to see what Nam and Ada are going to say when you complete the mission. So it's really fun, and I can't really complain too much about anything about these because I just had the time of my life really completing them. They were really fun to do. Another thing that you could partake in, if you haven't already realized, the game does keep you busy beyond the main story. The main story is the bread and butter, but of course, there's just so many little things to do. Like I said, you could even go off collecting the Dragon Balls, for God's sakes. But they have villainous enemies, and guess what? If you defeat all of them, you actually get to fight Mira. You get Mira and Toa showing up from the Xenoverse games. And you get to face off against Mira as he's absorbing all the energy from all these different fights they're having with these villainous enemies. And those villainous enemies are basically just overpowered enemies. And you get to fight Boo again. You get to fight Cell again. You even get to fight some of the more minor characters like powered up Cybermen. So it's really fun to really test your skills. And once you get leveled up, you can come back. And they do some fun things, like you get to fight multiple forms of Frieza, for example, multiple forms of Cell. So it's cool to just, do these fights, and it's a little something extra, and it's a little extra storyline thrown in for the Xenoverse fans. So it's cool that they threw that in, kind of merging the Dragon Ball video game universe together. And I've noticed they've kind of been doing that with some of these games. And you'll even see one of the characters from Dragon Ball Fighter Z, which is the lab assistant who is in charge of the training room. And, you get to improve on your training room, and you get to collect different items to upgrade it. And you'll notice that's where she's from. So once again, they kind of bridge the gap. Now, I never played that game, so I looked it up and I found out that she is Android 21. And what she does is she tells you about Banyu, who is actually the long-lost 6th member of the Ginyu Force. She used to be a member of the Ginyu Force before you fought them on Namek. And you actually get to fight against her in the fight simulator. You get to see a resurrected digital version of her. And it's pretty fun. She's got an original voiceover and everything like that. So it's really cool that they came up with a new character that actually expands on pre-existing characters that are already in the Dragon Ball Z universe. Other big factors in this game are the cooking parts, where you could cook around a campfire. You could even have Chi-Chi whip up a full course meal. You'll have to collect the necessary ingredients. You'll have to kill certain animals out in the wild, get certain fruit from trees or what's laying on the ground, and you can use these meals to really power up your character. You'll get some temporary perks as well as some permanent ones. So I like this emphasis on leveling up. It really fits into the Dragon Ball Z universe, and how Goku and Vegeta and all the characters for that matter are always trying to get stronger and better. And this kind of fits into everything with the power-ups and the leveling up and the skill tree and everything. And if that's not enough, you could turn your eyes to the community board as you meet characters in this game and do certain side missions. You're going to collect these certain coins. You're going to get these emblems, and they all represent a character. And there is a game board. It's called the community board, and you're going to have to fit together these characters, and you'll get special link combo bonuses, and you'll need to meet a certain requirement on these boards. There's a few separate boards. And if you want to be able to gain the most experience points, or be able to collect the most possible Z-orbs, or get the most out of your cooking, you're going to want to complete these community boards. And they could be tough. I will tell you something. I spent actually a few hours on this, trying to master it, looking up videos on YouTube. You're going to have to use certain power-ups that you will collect throughout your adventure. And it's tough. It's fun to do, and you get these little bonuses and these little voice clips from characters when you have certain matching combos on the board. So this was a really unique idea. It's a little imposing at first. It's a little bit overwhelming. Like, whoa, like there's so many different options here. You're like not going to know really what to do at first. And the tutorial kind of tells you what to do, but you kind of have no idea until you really get started and you start toying around with it, what you're in for. Now, I also want to talk about the DLC before we finish up here today. And let's just say that the first piece of DLC is a little bit cheap. So we have a new Power Awakens Part 1, and really all you get here is, you get some good dialogue. It's basically Battle of the Gods. The first couple of episodes of Dragon Ball Super, you get Beerus and you get Whis, and you get a few fights with Beerus, and you get some training with Whis, but it's basically just training. You get to train with Goku and Vegeta, and that's basically it. And the DLC is $10, guys. that's a little steep. Now, you do get Super Saiyan God along with this, so you do get a new form. So I guess that's kind of cool, but $10 for just training and not really a lot of story. I mean, you do get an extra area, you do get Beerus's world, you get Beerus's planet, so, I mean, that's all nice and fine, but, can we get a little bit more story? Can we get, like, some side missions? Could maybe Beerus send us on a few fetch quests at least? I'm asking for fetch quests here. Could we at least maybe do that? No. But I will say in part 2, which is the Frieza, the Golden Frieza Saga DLC, that one is definitely worth the money. That is also $10. But that I felt like was money well spent, because I did have a lot of fun. There is a really awesome mode where you can fight just large amounts of enemies and an endless gauntlet until you die, and there's even time fights, and you just get to fight 100 enemies, which is just so fucking awesome. I mean, you could just pound the shit out of all of the Frieza Force, and this was just really a sight to behold. I mean, if you're really powered up and you're really leveled up, you can just really knuckle up and just have the time of your life here. And the fights against Frieza, you get to keep fighting him. There's even a few side missions thrown in with the Ginyu Force, which also spice things up a little bit. So I thought that this was a little bit better, actually a lot better, a lot better. And it kind of bridges the two DLCs together. As you're really trying to level up to level 300 so you can fight Frieza one last time and also finally defeat Beerus. These are extremely hard fights, especially the Beerus one. It's a real tussle, and you're a real champion if you can finish these fights. But yeah, I'd say that this definitely is worth the $10. The first one, you need to have both of them, so you know you're gonna have to basically spend the $20 whether you like it or not if you want the Frieza one. So that was a bit cheap. I didn't like that. And also we've got the Trunks DLC coming up, which looks really fucking cool, and people are kind of confused on kind of what we're getting here. Are we kind of getting a Dragon Ball Super story with Goku Black? You know, you kind of see you're getting the androids, but what else are you getting? We're going to get, obviously, probably this looks like it's going to be the biggest piece of DLC out of the 3, without a doubt. So I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with that. And when it comes out and I download it during the summer, I will come back and I will do a separate review on that DLC for the Trunks DLC. So yeah, guys, if you are Dragon Ball fans, if you're Dragon Ball Z fans, if you're Dragon Ball Super fans, if, you know, you just like Dragon Ball, I would greatly recommend Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. This game is a lot of fun. It is very well made. It's good if you like RPGs. It's good if you like fighting games. It's good if you like open world adventures. It's got so many different genres intertwined all into this one game. I was just really impressed, and it's addictive. It's addictive as fuck. And the fighting system, like I said, it's so simplistic. It's so fun to just pick up and play. You're gonna get addicted. I promise you that. So, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the review. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all notifications when I post all my new videos. I want to thank all my patrons for your continued support. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you next time.